everybody. We've got another unboxing today. And this is something that you've already seen and heard me use, actually. And that is this Sound Blaster K3 Plus sent to us by Creative. This is a USB recording and streaming mixer. And it's a little bit different than the mixer that I have in my studio here for day-to-day use, and that it already has effects built in. There's a DSP, and you've got some functions for things like reverb and whatnot. And we're not going to hook it up to the camera and listen to it during this unboxing because it's already been demoed when I had to use it in a pinch in my second weekly news broadcast. With that said, I did repackage it exactly as it was, but I'm admitting now this is not my first impression with it. So let's go ahead and pop this open. So out of the box, we get a couple of things. We've got a USB lead, silica gel, 2 silica gels apparently, extension cord, an audio cord, the K3 Plus itself, and a manual, 2 manuals. Okay, this one's just the warranty book, which tells us that it's covered by 12 months, 24 months for the European Union, and that's basically it. So a year for us here in the US, 2 years for the EU. We've got a little manual that goes through what all of the buttons and interfaces are and shows us an example of connectivity. And real quick, let's just go through here some of the features. So we've got reverb select and reverb amount. We've got displays that tells us how much reverb and an auto tune function, which I actually didn't use. We've got a tuning knob for that. Minor major switch. 6 and 7. So we've got mixing and monitoring functions with sound effects available to them. This is a block for tone adjustment, so we've got our bass and treble adjusts, and then we've got 16, 17, our microphone and guitar volume 1, volume 2. So that controls the gain on our inputs, and we've got 2 pairs of inputs. Let's see, and then we've got, what else do we have? Voiceover switch, we've got a phantom power switch, and we've got a soundboard function. And the soundboard is pre-programmed for, where is it? Entrance, baby sounds, cheers, laughter, gunshots, and a crow. So those are pretty, they must be fairly popular sound effects. I can certainly see people using the laughing and the cheers and whatever may be appropriate for their stream. And the idea is that those are functions normally that I would do in software on something like my Stream Deck and OBS. I hit a button to open a folder, and then I have a bunch of pre-programmed clips for my sound effects. These are built into this hardware device, so there's no requirement to program them themselves, although it does mean that you're stuck with the ones that are here out of the box. I don't see any functions for changing them. Let's see. Status mode displays, soundboard. We've got reverb settings. There's a little sticker that comes on it that says what room type the reverb is simulating. We've got everything from off to malls and stadiums and cathedrals based on how you're doing things. And then there's a whole scale all the way from C major to B minor for your major and minor settings for the auto tune. I will probably have to play with those a little bit. So that's the that's what's in the manual. Let's take a look at the physical build. We've got plastic with what looks like it would have been brushed aluminum, but feels like it may just be some kind of metallicized plastic. On the face cover, everything's labeled very well. The buttons are satisfying. They provide an auditory and a physical feedback when you press them. So on this side, we've got most of our outs. We've got a ground, line out, line in, USB, and mobile I/O. I guess you could daisy chain two of these together. Use the line out to the line in, so if you had multiple people, put one person on the right channel, one person on the left channel type thing for two monos. You also have two combo Xlr Trs Microphone Inputs. I really like this style of input, since this lets me pick between what microphone type I'm using. 90% of my microphones are all XLR, but I do have a few that are still TRS type. That's good to see. Monitor 1, monitor 2, and then we've got a guitar, and I think that is a input on the guitar. Connectivity, so yeah, so that's an instrument input. I think that means there's probably also phantom power there. And then we've got, like I mentioned on this sticker, the reverb and the soundboard stuff's listed for me. I can control both of my headphone mixes. It looks like the instrument input is tied to microphone 2. Microphone 1's on its own. There's a lot of different ways to use stuff like that. Here in my studio, I have microphones in each corner for stereo sound. If you were doing something like playing a guitar and singing, you would typically microphone yourself with a mono mic, and then you would mic the guitar with a mono mic, and then you would mix those two afterwards. We've got a voiceover function that would allow you to cut in over whatever audio is playing, and then a tweak for the mobile out. So that's a quick overview on what's here. It's a fairly competent kit. There's a couple limitations on the K3 Plus that, although they struck me as odd looking through the specs, aren't necessarily going to be a huge problem for its target audience. So streaming is not my background. My background is more in the PC world, and that led me towards more of the production side of things, where mixers generally offered things like 192 kilohertz input and, absolutely fantastic SNRs. This is aimed at streamers, and it offers a 48 kilohertz in, and I think that's 24-bit. Let's see if it even says here. You know what? I think I read that in the manual online, and I don't think it's actually listed on those here. Nope, it's actually not listed on any of the packaging. But I do think this is a 4824 off the top of my head, and I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. That's not bad because of what this is targeted as. So it does work as a mixer, and it does work as an audio interface, and you can use it as those. But the real market for this is streamers. And streamers need good audio, but they don't necessarily need the same type of audio experience you would get going to a sound engineer as a production studio, where you're going to be making the next pop album. So it's a little bit different market focus. This is built, and that's why there's features like the reverb, like the auto-tune, like the sound effects in here, is this is built for someone like Jordan, who we worked with previously on the monitor review, to be able to set it up, and he's got some effects he can play with his voice, and he's going to sound good on the stream, but it's not built for a big production studio that's going to make a ton of money using this thing. I mean, yeah, streamers can make a fair bit of money, but the difference between 48 and 96, or even 48 and 192 kilohertz audio, isn't what's going to make them money. That's gameplay, that's audience interaction, that's a whole ton of other factors. This needs to be well built and well designed and focused on what it's doing and get out of their way. And that's really what this is designed for. You can spin a knob and press a button and have your sound effects show up. And that's what they need. So with that said, we're going to use this in a couple of our productions. I might use it in this week's live for my news roundup, and I may have a segment where I play with this a little bit, but we're also going to hand this off to Jordan and have him use it for a couple of weeks live on stream. And then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap everything up, just like we did with the VOTech monitor. So that's our initial take on the K3 Plus, and that's who it's for, is people like Jordan. I certainly can and have used this in my studio in a pinch because it works as a USB audio in. But I am not the target market with my studio here. I need a different style mixer. I'm not playing with effects. I'm not playing with reverb and all those other things. And if Pocketables starts doing live shows, and if that's something that you want to see Pocketables do, that may change. Because in these videos, I can add all those effects in post. I can split my audio out and fire up Audacity and throw them in. I can use Shotcut to put some of them in. And I've put gates and things like that, which I think this actually has a gate function somewhere in here. Or maybe that was OBS that I saw that. To clamp down on things like background audio. So, with that said, we're going to be handing this off to Jordan, and he'll be doing some work with it, and then we're going to circle back, as I already mentioned. I do want to thank Xlr for providing our opening and closing themes. As always, definitely check him out. I really like those, and if you want us to feature more of his music, please let him know, and we will. I want to thank our patrons for helping support us. And I'm also going to say thank you to Creative. They sent us this Sound Blaster K3 Plus for review, and we're certainly going to put it through its paces. And as I've said before, just because Creative sent it to us doesn't mean we're going to be any nicer to it than any other piece of equipment. Our goal here is to give you an unbiased opinion on the product we're covering, not just be some kind of paid placement ad for the company that sent it to us. And you saw when we had a TrendNet device in that didn't work as well as we wanted it to, we told you. That all said, if there's any questions, if anyone has something they want to see done with this K3 Plus unit, let us know in the comments below, and we'll make sure to feature that either in a video we do ourselves, or we'll ask Jordan to make sure to cover it when he's using it. Thank you for watching.